How do you feel about like the current state of the economy and this whole theory of like immaculate disinflation? If you're familiar with the term,
Say that again.
immaculate disinflation.
Well, we're not living through that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yes.
And where's your proof that we aren't exactly?
Are you talking disinflation?
Yes.
That we actually we're not seeing a surge in prices?
No, disinflation means the inflation rate is decreasing over time.
Well, so there is some evidence to show that, for example, televisions, iPhones.
Specific products. That's not an illustration of all inflation, though.
No, I was going to agree with you that.
Okay.
But if you just go to a grocery store, eggs are far more expensive than they were 2 years ago.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel at Fiscal Makeover. Today I'm going to be checking out anti-capitalists suggest inflation isn't real. Seriously. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started.
You don't have to overthink it. I mean, the college degree here at this university, what is it per year, guys?
30,000.
How much?
They've been
10 in state, 30,000 out of state. Yeah, 10 years ago, I bet it was 18,000 out of state, right? So
Yes, but they've been trying to raise the Cal State tuition for quite some time, even before inflation spiked to its current levels or previous levels about a year ago. They've just been delaying it for quite some time. So
yeah,
it's not
I mean,
exactly.
We're living through a decades-long inflation surge, and the best evidence you could see it either in the artificial boosting of profit-earning
But even-
ratios. Go ahead.
Even during like Trump's administration, inflation was actually quite low. So that's not
No, it was low then,
necessarily
but
true.
it's not low right now.
Yes, but why was it low then? Would you say?
Well, because we had economic growth, and we weren't borrowing $2 to $3 trillion a year.
We actually were. We were borrowing quite a bit of money.
We were borrowing about $1 trillion a year.
Still
not
quite a bit.
So we're borrowing about triple that right now.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
got
I mean,
it.
I think that's how the math works
so
out.
triple in the law of big numbers is a big deal. So
Mm-hmm.
borrowing 800 billion, not excusable. Borrowing 2.5 trillion, morally reprehensible.
Morally, why exactly morally is there
Well,
a distinction between 1 and 3 trillion? Very arbitrary.
Because
guys.
everyone here is going to have to pay off that debt, and that dollar that you think is going to have value is decreasing by the day. Whether you're pro-choice or Democrat.
But inflation is something that's going to occur
can
no
I-
matter what.
Can
Sorry.
I finish? Okay.
I apologize.
It's okay. Inflation is not a guaranteed human norm. That's not true, but I'll get to that in a second. Every single person here, it will be harder than ever for you to own a home. So inflation is immoral because you're going to enter into a housing market where everything costs 3 times as much in the housing market than it did a decade ago. You will not be able to afford a down payment, let alone even be able to build the capital necessary
True.
for other goods and services that
True.
you might want to build wealth. And you know who does benefit is your parents' generation and baby boomers, no
True.
offense, that
True.
do own their assets and you won't. And so, secondly, inflation is a choice. It's not built into the human experience.
The human experience, sure, but the economic system, especially a capitalist economic system, it definitely is. How would
Well,
you?
it
How would you
depends
try
how
to
you build a
achieve
central
0%
bank. Yeah,
inflation?
0% inflation?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want 0%.
So then it is built in,
Well, inflation.
and it is necessary evil.
No, I said I wouldn't want it.
Okay.
Moderate inflation is good for money velocity and for growth.
Yes.
But you need to manage that versus the growth rate, right? So
Yes.
this goes back to Milton Friedman's idea of the Chicago monetarism. You can laugh all you want.
Friedman. Yeah. All right. Okay.
What's so funny about Milton Friedman? The fact he's the greatest economist of the 20th century, or
Qualify. That's I don't know. I wouldn't say he's exactly that.
so you're more like a John
I respect your
John
opinion.
Maynard Keynes guy. So yeah.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
No.
but-
I just take a more broad approach than
Okay. So
specifically
we
Milton
don't
Friedman.
need to have a central bank. We do have a central bank.
Okay. Okay. Bold claim. I'll follow you though. I'll follow
You don't need to have a central
I
bank.
used to be very against the Federal Reserve as well.
Okay, I'm just saying you don't need to have one, but
Okay.
we choose to have one. The central bank has been overly politicized to try to stop, let's just say, natural economic cycles from occurring. Both administrations, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, have
Okay.
leaned on the central bank to use cheap money as a way
Yeah.
to try to keep
Okay.
the good times flowing and the good times going.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so-
definitely for sure.
So we don't agree. Well, we don't disagree.
Yeah, but here's the other thing I would say.
I gotta say, your protesters are kind of weak here, guys. I
Aren't they?
expected more
Aren't
out
they?
of them, right?
They didn't seem to have the energy to get all
I
the way
know.
to the
I
front.
thought they'd have more, Yeah, I like it. Please keep going, yeah.
I will say though, going back to the like mortgage rates, as you were saying, I would say that probably has a lot more to do with private equity buying up homes than the inflation rate.
Well, hold on. There's 2 parts to that. I'm not talking
Okay.
just about mortgage. Interest rates are up. I'm talking about just the asset price itself.
That too, I would say it's a lot more related to private equity buying up homes.
But why is private equity doing that? Because they have so much cheap money that we've put into the system, they don't know what to do with it. Now, I think we could agree, actually, there should be laws against BlackRock coming in and buying single-family homes and renting them back. You should not be a society of renters. It's bad for society.
Yes.
So we can agree on that. I say
yes,
that as a
for
conservative.
sure.
It's bad for the human experience
Good,
and for generational flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you open up the guzzle of cheap money, which we have done, especially post-COVID, there's a price to that. And the price is that your currency gets weaker.
Okay.
And we're seeing that right now.
Yes. So would you say that it was actually necessary in order to get out of the huge recession we experienced during the pandemic,
No, I think we should have just opened up the economy. We never should have locked down the country.
Okay.
So we never should have borrowed the $6 trillion. We never should have done the stimulus stuff. It hurt every single one of you. It increased suicide rates, depression, anxiety, fiscal problems, economic problems, political problems.
I could definitely agree with that to some extent. But would you say even in, say, 2009, lowering the interest rates to zero in that sense, was that
we didn't
necessary?
go to zero. We didn't. We went down, believe it or not. We went to like 5%. COVID, we went to like near zero.
Yes.
But no, I have a contrarian view on 2008. I think we should have let the banks fail.
Ooh, okay.
And I think we should have. I think we actually should have allowed the market to solve it, not to have socialism for the rich and
you know what?
brutal capitalism for the working class.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, so
totally agree with
I
that.
think that Wells Fargo, Goldman, I think that Lehman and the big banks that failed should have had to actually climb themselves out, or you destroyed a moral hazard is what you did, and zero executives went to prison. I agree with Elizabeth Warren on this. None of these robber barons that did what they did in 08 served federal prison time. Meanwhile, and I will use a political statement to contrast it, grandmas that went into the Capitol on January 6th and took selfie videos are in federal prison. You ask me who's a bigger threat to democracy? Wall Street executives that bankrupted our economy in 2008 are a bigger threat to our country than people that walked into the Capitol building and took a selfie.
Now, let me ask you this. I don't know if my memory served me correctly, but who was... did Steve Mnuchin serve under the Trump administration?
Yeah, he was from Government Sachs.
Did he serve under the Trump administration?
That's right, yeah.
So why would Trump invite someone like that who should probably be in federal prison into his administration?
I have a lot of personnel disagreements. I love Trump, but I think
you love Trump.
Love Trump.
Why would you love? Why would?
So, do we love Trump, everybody?
So, to ask a broader question, why would you love any politician? They have a job to do. Why be emotionally attached? In that sense?
And I don't say this like lightly. I do have a friendship with him. I've gotten to know him over a couple of years.
Okay.
So
and disclosing bias.
100% biased. And so I also think whether you hate him or love him, he's a once in 100 year.
But why would you hate him or love him? He just has a job to do.
Well, I also love what he did as country. As president for the country. So.
Would you say though that you're probably more of a fiscal conservative?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably his borrowing was one of the two. So 3 things, if you want to just be full disclosure, that I think President Trump could have done better, and I think he will do better. Fiscal deficit spending, okay?
Why do you think he will do better?
Let me get to all 3, okay? COVID and certain personnel choices, okay?
Okay.
Those are the 3 things. And and I could list 100 accomplishments. Those are 3 things I think that the first administration, that wasn't their best.
Yeah.
Why it could have been better? I think that he's got the world against him, and if he becomes president again, which the 50-50 shot he will, he's going to set the world on fire.
I would say he's a little bit too egotistical and emotional to really counter the world being against him. He seems to react a little too emotionally to these kinds of things.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but you're not gonna convince me on negative Trump stuff. So.
Okay, interesting. So your mind isn't necessarily that open. Isn't this change my mind?
You could try.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going to...
But didn't you just say kind of up front that
I'm open-minded to hear it. I'm just saying you're not going to change my mind on that stuff.
Okay, so then what is it that's leading you to think that Trump is going to have better decision-making in this next term, specifically when it comes to borrowing? Because he is going to...
I mean, I don't know, and honestly, there's little evidence except the fact that we're going to have a debt crisis, the likes of which the country's never seen. And he's going to have to address it. We need to have severe cuts in the federal budget.
So would you say that the downgrading of America's credit rating is more related to our national debt or the inability to handle it in a mature way?
More both, but more just the debt itself is. I mean, we now owe more than we're worth as a country. So I want to get to other questions because you had some time. But final question. I want to be respectful. But
so I guess. how would, if you think that that's an issue that we have more debt than say our current income?
Well, we do.
Well, yeah, but if you would
just
say
the value of the country.
of course,
yeah.
of course, we control our own currency, and our currency is
Yeah, are you a
the
modern
number one
monetary theory
reserve
guy? So
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so-
it's the number one reserve, so that gives us
it's
a lot of wiggle
so
room.
it's decreasing. It used to be 75% of the world's reserve currency status 20 years ago. Now it's 55%.
I would say
Do you
a
know
lot-
about BRICS? You know BRICS, right? BRICS,
Yeah, I do, I
BRICS
do.
is creating an alternative.
I think they're a paper
dollar.
tiger.
Okay, I actually hope you're right.
I don't believe
I
that
hope you're right.
India, China, South Africa, and Russia could ever work together to create their own
I hope you're right.
unified currency.
I just hope we're not too prideful.
Definitely a paper tiger.
Thank you.
Okay, I think like all this economic stuff, money stuff, not that good at it. But inflation is real. It's actually happening, and it's very weird he said that. But I don't know how to say it. Those currency stuff and like everywhere in the world, they're going through inflation. They're going through increase in products. Me, I feel like products are more valuable than money, because if you can get this today for like $10, you're going to get it tomorrow for like 12 or 20. So it means that the products have more value than the money, because inflation is going up and money value is reducing. So I feel when you have money, just get what you want, because tomorrow is going to be, you're going to spend more money tomorrow to get that same quality. But I don't know if I'm making sense, but that is basically what I understand. And I don't know much about money stuff, capitalism and stuff. But this was a nice video. I love the way they were able to converse. So do let me know what you think about my reaction. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.